incumbent upon you to do that. Also, you can come in and use the club lab computers and do whatever you want on them. They they purge all the data that you work on the computer, and it goes away, so there's no security or confidentiality violated. I'd like to extend a big thank you for the new volunteers that were here for the coffee orientation meeting yesterday. They did a great job. We thank you very much. And they found out it wasn't as difficult as they thought. So if you want to add to that, if there's somebody out there that wants to get in on that game, feel free. Just let us know and we can work on that. As I said earlier, the topic is OneDrive and Win 10, the new release that's coming out, plus Defender antivirus comments by Dan Ray, and that's going to be in August. So mark your calendar for August 11th in that regard. And we will be continuing all of our meetings the balance of the year on the second Saturday of each month. Now, while we're talking about meeting times, how many of you would not be able to come to a meeting if we had a morning meeting Monday through Thursday? Hands, please. 2, 3, 4, 5, a dozen. Okay. The reason being is we're having some discussions with CAM with regard to the availability of this room on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I wanted to get a little bit of a feel for how many would not be able to come if we held that during the week. And there are a number of other people that do work in the community. About, 40% of the people still are employed, and they do not have access to this meeting other than Saturday. I put this up only as a reminder. We don't have any classes scheduled for July or August. We'll resume classes in September. But if you have an idea of a class that you'd like to hear about, talk to Ralph at some point in time in the next month or so, and we'll see if you can find an instructor and have a class. In the interim, feel free to come to our cool lab and work with a monitor. If you don't understand something on your iPad or iPhone or Android or tablet or whatever, and you just want some one-on-one instruction, feel free to come into the lab. We normally have people that are quite knowledgeable about all of those devices, and a little bit of one-on-one time works very nicely. Community events, we have a summer concert on August 2nd. We had one just this past Thursday that was very nice, and there was a nice breeze off the lake. We thought it was going to be a hot night, but it was very, very nice. So feel free to attend the August 2nd concert. As a reminder, there will be an Ion Film crew here, I believe on July 18th, although that date has been shifting a little bit. They'll be on campus, and I believe they are going to spend some time in the computer lab. So if you want to be on a video, just maybe plan on maybe the 18th coming into the lab. Although I don't know what date the 18th is. Is that a Thursday? Thursday. The association board meeting will occur at 6 p.m. on July 25th. And don't forget free food at Aiken Field on August 7th. The board meeting is here in this facility here, Trimble Hall. So without further ado, I have one other announcement to make, and that is you recently, if you live in either Rutland or Grafton Township, you will have received a notice in the mail about an amendment And the amendment is that the dates for closure for petitioning your assessment for Rutland has been moved to August 6th, and for Grafton, it's been moved to August 9th. Hampshire's closed, so if you're in Hampshire, you're out of luck. But Rutland and Grafton, those dates have been opened until, because of the announcements in the paper not being timely. Last thing I wanted to announce before we get to our good speakers is the fitness has added a new service. They are doing Centegra physical therapy in our fitness center. And I don't know how many days a week that will be, but I believe that service starts in August. So you may, if you aren't having PT over at Centegra and you would prefer to take it here in the lodge, that service will be available. And without further ado, I'd like to bring John Sterling up first, and you'll find out things that you should know about your computer, but they're betting you don't.
We know they don't because we see their computers in the lab. We're going to talk today about 5 different topics. We're going to try to take about 5 minutes on each of the topics. A couple of them may go over a little bit. The first one is, how do you properly use your download folder? The next one is, before you download a file or a driver, be sure that you know how to read and understand the URL, which is the address on the internet where you're going. Some of the password, one of the big problems we see in the lab, many of our users are older people that don't have good memories and they forget their passwords. So I've got a couple of options here on how you can do a better job with that. How do you copy pictures from your camera or your cell phone to your computer? And Bill's going to cover that. And he's also going to tell you the difference between the Norton antivirus and Malwarebytes. How do we know that members need help downloading pictures and files? We see this very often, and let me show you with the pointer. These numbers here mean that you've downloaded that file 8 times. And if you look at the timestamp, it was all within about 5 or 6 minutes. And I don't blame you for that. The real problem there is the way Microsoft writes the instruction. When you hit the download button to download a file, it pops up a screen, and I'll show you that in a minute, but it doesn't tell you where the file is. So I'll show you what the way that works. When you hit the download button, you don't hear anything happen, you don't see anything on the screen, but when it's done, it gives you this for options. And most of the time, what you want to do is hit save. The problem, though, is that people hit save and it doesn't say anything, it doesn't do anything. You're just supposed to know this. Well, a lot of people don't. And if you don't, you end up not knowing that that file has gone to the download folder. Does anybody not know where the download folder is? 2, 3 people. The download folder is, if you look on File Explorer, it's one of the ones in the list on the left-hand side. So when you click download to download a file, it goes into the download folder, and if you hit save, you can then go to that folder and pick up that file. The other thing you want to look out for when you're doing downloads, they love to give you optional offers. In this particular case, if you're downloading Adobe Acrobat, they have this already checked because they know you're gonna want this. Although sometimes you may not. This is to download Google Chrome. It's already checked, so before you hit install on the file, uncheck that. This one on here also. Install the Chrome extension. You really should uncheck that also. If you do a download, always look on this screen before you install the file to make sure they're not putting some other things on your computer. Okay, when you hit save, if you go to the download folder, and this is the download folder, that file is right here. And all you need to do to install that update for Adobe Reader is double click on this file and it will install. The other thing you want to look out for, this is the sheet to download CCleaner. And there's three options. The first one is to just buy the professional version. And the second one is to take the professional trial. And be careful doing trials, because generally they'll run 14 to 30 days, and at the end of that time you start getting pop-ups. Do you want to buy this now? Now's a good time to buy this. Here's a better deal on it. They'll give you all kinds of things. And you're going to have to go in and turn those pop-ups back off. The one you want is the one that says free and download. The other thing that you need to download are attachments on emails. If you get an attachment on an email, you'll see this little symbol, which is a down arrow and a little tray under it. If you click on that, that will download the file that's attached to your email to the download folder. And you'll get this option here. Again, you want to hit save, and that will put it in the download folder. And here's the download folder, and here's this happens to be a picture, a JPEG. And that JPEG is sitting in the download folder, and you can take that and put it wherever you want it. But the thing to remember is when you do a download, it goes into the download folder. Okay, before you download a file from the internet, be sure that you read and understand the URL. For example, BMO Harris is bmoharris.com. That's the true website for it. But if you see one in there that says bmoharris.loans.com, that's a fake website. That's not real. Somebody has created a website called bmoharris.loans, which is not BMO Harris. And this is very common to redirect you to a different website. Here's another one, free download-ccleaner.com. The true website is ccleaner.com. You always want to look for either .com, .gov, .edu, and the word before it. Now you can't be 100% sure that that's the correct one, but you can be 100% sure that that's not the correct one there. One of the things that you want to do before actually clicking to go to a website, hover over what they're telling you it is. This is just a description of what the website is. If you hover over it, down on the status bar, you'll see the exact address that you're going to. Most of the browsers and most of the websites now have it underneath the link that you're going to be clicking on. so you can see exactly what the address is. And it's gonna take you probably a little while, but you wanna get used to reading that and understanding that it's really a true website. One of the biggest problems that we see in the lab is people forgetting their passwords. We see people with pages of passwords written on both sides, just so many that you can't imagine. And everyone is different. One of the best ways to solve that problem is to use a free app that's available called LastPass. But we've been preaching LastPass for several years, and very few members are actually using it. I don't know why, but if you're at all interested in security, your passwords should all be in LastPass. With LastPass, you can change your password very easily, and it keeps track of it. You can click on launch on the website, and it automatically opens the website you're going to, puts in your username and password, and allows you to go in. But I guess we know that people are not going to do this. If you don't do this, understand that you're not using the best security. So I'm going to give you an option. When I look at my passwords, I actually use LastPass, but when I go down through there, if I have ones like BMO Harris, PayPal, Ameritrade, Amazon, if you have Amazon Prime and your credit card is in there, you don't want anybody going into those websites. But the ones that need to be really secure, like these, are very few of the actual websites. So one of the things that you can do, well, let me just say, I was looking for an article in the American Woodworker. It was a 10 or 12-year-old issue that had an article on making raised panel doors. And I was trying to get the article for one of the woodshop members. When I signed on to the website, I had to create a username and password for that site in order to get in to look at that article. So what I have is a generic website, a generic username and password to get into a website. These are not my username and password. But these are to show you the kind of format. For example, on username, Sailboat88. Every one of the non-secure websites that I go to, my username is Sailboat88. It's not, but it's like that. And the password is an old address. This is the place I lived 20 years ago. So I can remember Sailboat88 in 10 Fox Harbor because I use that over and over to go into non-secure type websites. So if you want to do this, create a name here and use it over and over, and create a password here and use it over and over. These are some of the generic websites that I use a generic sign-in for. You need to look at how you do those. If you have a credit card on any one of those, don't use a generic one there. But this will cut down on the number of ones that are secure that you need to remember and allow you to go into, in my case, it's almost 40 websites that I have a username and password for, and I generally use the generic. Nope.
So they told me to start off with a joke, but am I bleeding here? They keep going like this over there. I don't know what they mean. Oh, is it? Okay. So, how to copy pictures that are on your camera and get it to your cell phone or your computer. several ways to do it. One of the easy, by the way, how many people still use Windows 7? I do too. There's a real easy way to do it with Windows 7. It's not as easy as Windows 10. So we're going to show you the one that's universal. There are several ways to do it. Basically, turn off your, I can't speak, why am I? Turn off your camera, pull the SD card out. You always want to turn off your camera just in case it's accessing your card. You don't want to screw up the data. Pull the card out, insert the card into the PC, and transfer the pictures or files. How hard is it, right? There are other ways to do it that are a little bit more difficult, but we're not going to go over those. And if your camera does not, sorry, if your PC does not have a media card insert, most of them still do, certainly the new ones. You can buy an adapter to stick your SD card into the adapter for all of anywhere from $10 to $1. You can get those deals. By the way, does anybody know what SD stands for? The SD card, the SD stands for. Oh, there we go. What is it?
Secure Digital.
Secure Digital, there you go. We're gonna have a trivia contest later in one of the next. So anyway, so what do? You throw the disk. Sorry, you don't throw. You put the SD, you insert the SD card into the computer, and you open up File Explorer. John talked a little bit earlier about File Explorer. It's at the bottom. Whoops, wrong button. Oops, backwards. This back. There we go. It's at the bottom of your screen. You've all seen this left half of the Windows 10, certainly. You click on that folder, and you find your SD card. In this case, mine comes from my Nikon camera. And I'll click on one of the pictures. If you click on one of the pictures and press Control A, actually it should be a small a, at the same time that says I want to capture all of those pictures. And then if you press Control C, should be a small c also, that says you just copy all those pictures. So that put it onto the copy, what do you call it, a copy? Clipboard, there you go. We the unknowing are telling the unknown how to do it. Anyway, and then once you do copy that, you want to go to your, again, File Explorer, and you'll see, especially either at the top or down a little further, here's pictures. Here's the downloads that John was talking about. And sometimes the computer will think you want to put the pictures in downloads. I like to keep all my pictures together in pictures, so just to let you know, you may have to change it to pictures right here. You press that folder, and then once you press it, you can create a new folder over here, label it Belgium trip or whatever trip you're going to be on. And then if you simultaneously press Shift Control N, and it's a small n, you do create a new folder and you can type in the address. Pretty straightforward so far. Then you, on that folder, you press Control V, insert. So Control X, for those who don't know, Control X is delete, Control C is copy, and Control V is insert. And you almost don't have to remember any of the rest of the stuff. And it will start to transfer over your however many pictures you have. And then once you get to there, you can click open the file and enjoy a picture and enjoy a memory. Apple and Android phones. A simple way is just to use the Google Photo app. Google Photos has an application, well, called named Google Photo, which is free. I like free. Like these donuts, all we have to donate to the food pantry, but that's okay. And it's a real easy way to not only back up your photos, but also to be able to download them elsewhere, or send them an email or something, or share your albums. So we have a photo course that we're putting together, the two Bill Squared, that will be coming out within about another month to talk about basic photo manipulation and usages, etc., on smartphones, both Apple and Android. If you have an Android, this is even easier. That's already in your machine. If you have an Apple, you just have to download that. There are other ways to transfer pictures to the cloud to back them up, but I just personally, I like simple. I'm a simple person, as some people know me. And Google Photo in my mind is just one of the easiest things to use. So, okay, last topic. I don't know if I hit the 5-minute mark. Last topic: viruses and malware. Heard of viruses and malware, I'm sure. In fact, the Democratic Party found out about viruses and malware. We'll talk about that in a little bit. For those of you who haven't watched the news lately. Viruses essentially are a specific type of malware, and it's like a disease. It wants to get on your computer, then it wants to spread. There are other kinds of malware, spyware, adware. You ever notice if you go to a website and you click on a particular golf club, then all of a sudden every other window you open up on any other Facebook or AOL or whatever, there's your golf club just waiting for you to pick it, right? Whoops, I picked the wrong button again. There we go. Now it's Trojans, ransomware, we'll talk about that in a minute, etc. So malware really is the broad general word for things that you do not want on your computer. And you know, basically, Norton's and McAfee, Norton's free if you have Comcast, McAfee's free if you have AT&T. Windows Defender is free if you have a Windows 10 computer. You can use whichever one you want, in my mind anyway. Their objective is to stop the viruses and the malware from getting into your computer. But once they do get in, and they can't stop everything, then there's a software program called Malwarebytes, and there are a few other ones like it, but we just tend to like this in the club. Their objective is to remove that malware if it does get into your computer. So, recommendation, I've seen this on a number of different websites, much less within our computer club. Use both an antivirus tool and occasionally, if you need to, an anti-malware tool. Antivirus you want to have on all the time. All the time. And it should update itself with all the definitions that are coming out, the crazy hacker stuff that's coming out on a regular basis should be kept up to date. The malware, run it every 2 or 3 weeks. It's just my personal opinion. Or if there's a problem on your, you say, wow, this PC is really acting weird. Kind of like the way I speak. So you can run that anti-malware. Phishing. Phishing, that's what nailed the DNC. You click on an attachment or a web link because, oh, this Amazon says they're going to stop my account if I don't respond to them. It's a big no-no. And it generally will introduce some virus or spyware or malware or whatever to essentially steal your sensitive information. And you even help them by clicking on it. So that is it that in ransomware, to stay away from ransomware, never call a number that pops up on your screen. Don't click on an email attachment or web link if you don't know the sender. That's a real key, number 2. Microsoft will never call you, no matter how rich you are. The IRS will never call you, no matter how much you owe them. You did not win that contest. I let the Nigerians out. And Amazon is not terminating your account. So the best defense is you. If you don't know who it is, don't go there. Okay? And if that fails, stop and call the Ghostbusters. That's us. See, we're worried about viruses too. You know, so come see us in the lab, and thank you for listening. And any topics that you have, of course, we're always willing to try to address. Like I said, we're coming at just as a little ad. We're trying to come out with some new courses for both Android and Apple, not all Apple products, the iPhones and iPads. We're trying to come new courses, so if you have an idea for a course, please let us know. We'll be happy to try to develop something for you. So, is that it? I needed to shut up, right? Okay, questions?
Okay, one thing, Bill, you mentioned having antivirus and malware. What you don't want to do, though, you have to be careful not to have more than one antivirus program. That will slow down your computer and it causes other issues. So you can have an antivirus and an anti-malware. Just be careful you don't have two antivirus. The other comment, and John and I have talked about this, a problem with having a generic password that you use everywhere. Some of those sites that you go to may seem harmless to use your generic password everywhere, but they may have a forum where you can leave comments, and if that password is compromised, what these people do that find out the password for this one website, well, they'll have a program that'll go through a whole list of websites with that same user code and password trying to log in. And if they find one that logs in, they can sell that. And they can start posting spam ads for Viagra and stuff on these under your name. So I try not to. I use LastPass, and I have about 600 passwords saved in there because every website is different. So that would be my recommendation, but I know everybody's not going to do that. Okay, that's.
I tried to give some caveats there that this is not the most secure way of doing it, but since not nobody, but since very few people are actually using LastPass after all the times we brought it up, here's an alternative. Just be aware you're not as secure as you think.
It seems harmless, but it's not necessarily.
Understand. And
George?
One thing, if you're using Norton from Comcast, Norton has a password vault built into that program. So it's already on your computer if you put the Comcast program on. And it works very well. The second thing I was going to mention was that Malwarebytes, which is what we use in the lab, there's two versions of that. The free version, which is what we use typically, that will scan your computer, find things, clear them out. There's a paid version, which is about $24, $25 a year. That runs in the background all the time, and that blocks things from coming on in the first place. And then it runs periodically as far as a scan. So you have two options on using Malwarebytes.
Yeah, one other thing, the Norton's with Comcast, you're getting, they used to call Norton 360, now they call it something else. You are getting the top end Norton's product. Some of your antivirus products are priced based on what you get or don't get. But those of us on Comcast, when you get your Norton 360, or again, whatever they call it now, you're getting everything, the whole ball of wax, which does a lot of malware fighting too. So. And I don't work for Comcast, so that's.
go ahead.
Hey, Phil, you were talking about downloading Google Photos. So when I downloaded picture files from Google Photos to my computer, went back and kind of checked the resolution, and they're not the same. The download JPEG is a little bit less than what my original image is. Is there a way to do that so I get the same resolution?
Yes, that's one of the points we're going to address in our class, so you'll be our first student. Actually, you're going to be teaching the other class for Androids. Google Photo has some, I mean, there's no software out that does everything for everyone, especially for free. Google Photos does a nice job for most people who are just going to look at pictures on their handheld device or even their computer. But if you want to print a 20 by 30 poster of your grandkids, you want to either keep that in your phone or transfer that directly to the computer so you can keep the maximum resolution. You do have an option with Google Photos to set, keep the maximum resolution, but then it does they do start to charge you. So that is, when you first sign up for Google Photo, that's your choice. Most people, again, I'm just throwing out this is just my opinion, most people don't need or use the maximum resolution unless you're going to be doing some serious work on paper or on a canvas of that particular file.
Yeah, you have to take a picture and print it out. Your original picture at 8 by 10 is the size you usually print. You don't usually go much more than that, do you? And then print the one you got back from Google Photos and see, you won't be able to tell the difference, even though they reduced them a little bit.
We do have a great subgroup. Actually, it should be a super group in my mind. Gentleman, Mr. Jeff up here is going to stand up, please. One of the most humble, knowledgeable photographers that I've run into in a while. They do have a group there, and they talk about these issues about photos and, do you want to compress them or not, and different ways to take care of it. So there is this, and by the way, if you're in the computer group, you automatically belong to the photo group. I love this free stuff, right?
On the Google Photos, if you take a picture with a camera that makes the picture about 6 megabytes, and then you put it on Google Photos, it'll reduce it down to about 600 kilobytes.
No.
Yes, it does.
So as you can tell, there's a lot of discussion. When it comes to a general rule of thumb, again, I like to kind of take things down to the most basic level. General rule of thumb, if you're only going to look at these pictures on a monitor, any kind of monitor almost, except for maybe something like this, you're not going to see a difference, or you won't see much of a difference. But if you really want to get a little more serious about your photos and get that beautiful canvas of your beautiful grandkids, and we all have them, right? Most of us anyway. Or you got your favorite nephew. Anyway, then you want to be a little more careful. And again, the photography group does a marvelous job taking care of it, helping you with that.
But if you want to zoom in on your pictures and the picture gets reduced, it'll pixelate very quickly.
All right, sometimes when you're on a website or you're trying to download or get some information, it'll say, go to your browser because you're blocked from that. And I don't know where to go at that point to remove whatever it is they don't, that's blocking it, like cookies or something.
Usually your browser will show you either at the top of the page, is what I remember, saying, would you like to allow this page that's been blocked to go ahead and come up on your computer? And there's either yes or no, basically, or a yes or a X mark saying no. Ken?
Sometimes they come up and say that this website has an invalid certificate.
Yeah.
And then you can go into
So-
details and you can say,
So
yeah.
you
go ahead.
can get there, just look for something that says you want to allow that blocked website to happen once. However, realize that again, the browser is telling you, it's not sure about this one, are you? And again, that's why I say, the best form of security is you.
Stay off the schedule.
Yeah, and the other thing I would mention, when you're talking about downloading pictures from cameras, that refers to pictures you took on the camera. Now, if you get pictures sent in by a text message, you have to first put those on that camera, and then you can download them. But you can't download them directly to your computer from a text message.
And that's one of the topics we will handle with our photography course coming up.
My comment is about LastPass and other online password managers. I know that I've been talked to about how secure they are, but I'm not comfortable giving my bank account passwords, investments accounts, and so forth to a company, A, that doesn't charge me anything, and B, what happens if they have just one dirty employee?
You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I've talked about LastPass here a couple of times, and LastPass, I don't know if it was a year or two ago, LastPass got hacked. And someone did acquire a portion of their database of passwords. But LastPass said, not a problem. And I'm thinking, yeah, not for you because it's not your passwords. But then I did some more research, and what I found was that your passwords, before they leave your computer, are encrypted 1,000 times. So it takes that file of passwords and encrypts it. Takes that encrypted file and encrypts it, and encrypts it, and encrypts it 1,000 times before it sends it over the internet. Then when LastPass gets it, they encrypt it another 100,000 times before they store it in their database. So even their employees can't get to your passwords. It's a standard AES 256, I think, encryption scheme. I can't, I'd have to think about it more to explain it clearly to everybody here, how the encryption actually works. But the encryption is not the same for everybody, and it's, well, you should do some reading on it, and maybe, well, you have to understand encryption schemes. And somebody didn't create that encryption scheme.
They don't store your password.
Well,
and yeah, they don't store your master password or.
I just think somebody has the ability to get that. I'm not convinced.
Yeah, the NSA does, I'm sure.
You know, again, we're not suggesting that you must use LastPass. And if you don't feel comfortable with anything, you need to go to something else. Write it down on a piece of paper, store it in your iPhone, then shoot someone that tries to grab it. I mean, you know, make your pick. Yes.
And LastPass, can you tell us just a little bit more detail? If somebody wants to use LastPass, how do they do it? Get it on their computer, get the app loaded in, and then what is again the security levels with LastPass that we should kind of believe in?
You can reference some of the video programs that we have in our database.
Well, you can log on to LastPass and download the program. And if you're not sure how to use it, there's plenty of YouTube videos that show you exactly how to use it. George?
What's the relationship between Defender and Norton and Mac?
They hate each other. No. Norton is, sorry, I took my weird pills today. Norton and McAfee obviously are separate companies, although I think McAfee's owned by Intel, right? Anyway, they're considered separate companies. Windows has always had Windows Defender, but when they went to Windows 10, in some of our opinions, maybe all, I don't know, they've done a really nice job of creating a nice antivirus system that works with the Windows system, includes malware, gets updated definitions, etc. In fact, the other thing I like about Windows Defender is you do add a different antivirus. It says, okay, you've got the ball now. I'm going to sit here and wait in the background. If for some reason you disappear, I'm going to pop back up again and save keep the antivirus on your computer. So it's one of those pick and choose. I use Windows Defender, can use it as sort of Norton 360. You're going to get about, if you come in the computer lab, if you haven't already gotten several opinions, you never talked about this, right? But anyway, they all three work very well. They're not all three perfect. None of them are perfect, which is why you have Malwarebytes and other Bitdefender and other things. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, the other thing I was going to mention is that coming back to this question about security and password vaults, on Norton's Vault, you have the option of either leaving it on your computer or going to their web-based program. And so if you're really uncomfortable with the web-based side, you can leave that data on your computer. It doesn't go up to the web. The other thing I was going to mention was when you're talking about downloads and getting strange things because you miss, and it's very easy to miss not unclicking something because it's not necessarily really clear the way this all works. I found a good process is after you've downloaded something, go to Control Panel, go to Remove Programs, brings up all the programs you have, click on the date, bring the dates up, and if on the date that you downloaded, let's say Adobe, whatever, there's 7 more programs on that same date that don't look familiar, just take them off. And that gives you pretty good coverage on it.
Every time I log in the computer new website and I put in a new password user ID, they always ask me Google Chrome, we want to save this password. And is it safe?
It's not secure, no. You don't want to save the password.
Because every time you log in some site and they ask you, do you want to save this password?
Yeah, the answer is no.
Yeah, you can't.
If you're doing a, website that isn't having any credit card information or anything like that, it's most likely okay for you to use that feature, but not on any of your websites that have any of your business or transfer.
Okay, I have a new Samsung Tab A Android tablet. Do I need to have malware and all that on my tablet?
Should. Tablet question, who's gonna take the tablet question?
Oh, what was it? I'm sorry, I was having too much fun up here again. Answering the last question was question. You can save the password on your computer if you want. That's just my personal opinion. First of all, it's easier, that way it automatically comes up. Second of all, if you just have one computer, unlike certain other people that have 50 or 60 at their house, more than likely you're not going to be a target for someone, the Russians coming in and trying to see everything that's on your computer. So for unsecured, for things like that don't have to do with my 401k or my banking, etc., I will let the computer save the password, and this stays on the computer, doesn't get sent out to the company.
And it's encrypted too.
It is encrypted.
If you set a master password. So you should set a master password.
But if you really want lots of things to do, you know, I can't, you know, sure you can.
Now let's answer the question she asked.
Yes, I'm sorry, tablet.
Tablets, security. Do you need to have a security system on a tablet? Yes.
Yeah, there is a virus app you can put on.
Yes.
Yeah, Androids are more exposed than Apples are. It's one of those things where, you know, Apple's got some, I have an Apple, but I don't have any Apple stock. I think they're overpriced, but whatever. Apples are more secure, but they're also more secure than when if you forget your password, your SOL, you're going to be driving into Winfield to get someone to help you find it. The Android is much more flexible. You can do a lot of things with Android, but it also is an open system that Google has out there and is a little more, what's the word? Vulnerable, there you go, to any possible malware. There is, you know, they've hit the Windows machines, right? They're working on the Mac machines for hacking. And you know what's next? I mean, that's the most number of things out there now are smartphones. And if you have an Android, I probably, just opinion only, I probably would look at maybe putting some kind of antivirus on it. If you've got an Apple, I wouldn't worry about it just yet, but just personal opinion.
Hey, just a this will be our last question, Steve.
Okay.
Make it long.
Now, on an unsecured site, let's say Best Buy, if you decide to buy something on Best Buy, what's the best way then to use a credit card to buy from Best Buy, or Jason Penny, or whoever it might be?
Safest way is to go into the store and hand it.
Not necessarily.
And the second safest way is to use your credit card when I buy it.
Yes.
It's not an unsecured site. Take a look at that website that John was talking about up top. And if it does not say HTTPS, then I would worry. But the S means secure. So if the website does have the HTTPS : whatever, that means it's a secure. You look at next time you log into your bank account, take a look at it. It'll be there. Amazon, same thing. It'll be there. So if you don't see that, yeah, I would worry about it. I'm pretty sure, without pulling my phone out right now, that Best Buy does have a secure site along with Costco, etc. So I wouldn't worry about that as much. One other thing, if you're really concerned about leaving your credit card number with, for example, Best Buy, and I don't really just stop either, PayPal.
Yes.
Set up an account in PayPal. PayPal takes care of the transfer of money. You can use your credit card, but your credit card never shows up on the Best Buy site. All Best Buy ever sees is, yes, you paid PayPal, and PayPal guarantees them that they will get paid, so. It's another way to do it.
By the way, one last thing, and that is, we need to thank Frank for taking all of the pictures of the fireworks that you saw and the parade that you saw as our opening slides. And with that, you can all rise and leave. Have a good day. That's true.
Why you